What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Tonight, we're back for another episode of Let's Talk Dynasty as we do every single Sunday night. So if this is your first time on the channel, the first time that you're seeing these faces, go ahead, go down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button before we get started. But very excited today because it is our monthly trade review show. We're going to be in here. We're going to be talking about some trades that you guys submitted to us down in our Discord. We do have a Discord linked in the description. So you guys submit the trades there. We talk about them on the show at least once a month, sometimes even twice a month. But it wouldn't be an episode of Let's Talk Dynasty unless I brought my co-host in the building. He's a little bit sick today. Maybe he's sick about talking Kendrick Lamar and Drake because our group chat's been going crazy about it. But let's bring him into the building. MFGDs, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Ready to rock and roll, do this damn thing.
Look, man, is it the Kendrick Lamar? Is it the Drake that got you sick?
Maybe, man. It may be. It may be, man. I can't tell you, man. It probably is the beef that got me feeling a little under the weather.
Fair enough. Man, we've been talking about it in our group chat, I feel like, all week. If you guys are following along with the beef, let us know who you guys are rooting for down below. What team are you on? If you're on Team Drake, hit us with an owl emoji. If you're on Team Kendrick, let's see that boogeyman, that demon emoji in the comment section. Excited to see where that goes. But that's not why we're here today. We're not here to talk about Kendrick Lamar. We're not here to talk about Drake. We're here to talk fantasy football, specifically Dynasty Fantasy Football trades. That is the whole title of the show. Let's talk Dynasty. So I will share my screen. We do have the trades pulled up here on the page here. Let me see if we can get that going. And here we are. So what I wanted to do today, we actually had this one submitted to us in the Discord. You didn't submit it, but you're involved. So I figured, why don't we talk about your trade? Why don't we talk about this trade? And then I brought one of my own. We can talk about one of mine. And we'll just start it off right here. But the context of this was submitted by B Smooth. He says it's a 10-team league, super flex league, PPR, tight end premium, 6-point passing touchdown, start 10. So make sure you get all of that information in there for you guys. And he said he made this trade while he was on the clock. So the deal is Devonta Adams, Devonta Smith, and the 302 being traded to be Smooth. That was from your team. You got the 104, which turned into Jayden Daniels, Jahan Dotson, and a 2025 second. So, War, walk me through this trade from your lens, because I feel like from a value standpoint, the value might be on the B Smooth side.
Yeah, the value might be on the B Smooth side. B Smooth is closer to being a win now team. My team is nowhere near close to win now. We're kind of caught in purgatory. We're in the middle. We had they're both named Devonta, so I'm going to say Smith. We had Smith. We had Smith as like, I feel like him and Stroud, who is another player that I acquired in this partial teardown because I wanted to do a retool instead of a rebuild. So, I mean, I shopped around the league. I couldn't even get let's keep those demon emojis going. I couldn't even get an early second round pick for Devonta Adams. I shopped him around the entire league. He was gaining no traction at all. And I'm the type of person that I'm not going to risk the asset getting further devalued. And at this point in time, I also couldn't get Devonta Smith for a high first round pick. So those two things, the 302, we could just throw that to the side. That was whatever. So I figured that I could kick it to get a 25 second, get an early first for 24, and get probably a player that's, I feel like he's undervalued right now, Jahan Dotson. And that was kind of my logic on it, man. Like, I'm going into a full rebuild. And now my quarterback position is elite.
Yeah. I mean, so who do you got at quarterback now? You got Jayden Daniels and who else?
CJ Stroud and Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, you're good, bro. But when it looks what it looks like for me is, I mean, you said that B Smooth, he's closer to contending than you said. I think in the context, he also said that he was looking to kind of fill out some extra depth pieces on the roster, and he was targeting Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers was drafted before he was on the board. So it looks like he was like, well, I was looking for the wide receiver, not really willing to dip down into the Odunze yet. So I'll just trade it for Devonta Smith, Devonta Adams. And I like the move for him. I like the move for you too. When it comes to getting that elite quarterback, because if Jayden Daniels is elite, if he turns into that, then you can trade him for more than what you probably were going to get for Devonta Smith and Devonta Adams. So I definitely see it from both angles. And I think it's one of those rare trades where, yeah, you probably paid a little bit more today than you needed to, but you can make that back on the back end if Jayden Daniels turns into who we think he could be.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely have future trades in mind when I make this one.
Fair enough. All right. Well, let's talk about the one. I brought one for myself. It's a small one just to talk about it because I feel like the best time, and we just showed that one where you were on the clock or he was on the clock and he made a move. I feel like these rookie drafts, the best time to move and make real franchise changing moves is actually when you're on the clock, because I like to tier out my players. I like to rank my players and do all of this before we go into the draft. So I know how to operate. It makes it very easy for me. If you're going into a tier to get a guy, if you're coming out of a tier because everyone's left, that's the best way for me to do it. That's what happened with this trade. So 10-team league, super flex, PPR, tight end premium, start 10. I was on the clock. I had the 206. We had just had some of the guys come off the board that I was looking at. We were going on to the next tier of wide receiver talent. Ricky Pearsall was not there. Some of these other guys were not there, if I'm not mistaken. But I was very deep at quarterback. I have Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield. Like I have a lot of good guys at the quarterback position. Michael Penix was the best guy on the board. Ants came up. He wanted to get Michael Penix. He was willing to give me his 2025 first. Now, he is a good team, so he is probably going to be late in 2025. But I was able to move up around just because I didn't like the tier.
I like the trade for you because, I mean, I understand he's a good team, but it's fantasy football. You never know what can happen. That 25 first can end up being higher. And the worst case scenario is that you're looking at a pick that's still higher than the picks you traded away for 24. So you're looking at the last pick of the first round, which is still higher than that 206. So I like the trade for you. I think it's a sound strategy to make that move when you feel like your tier is not going in your favor. Just kick it to the next year.
Yeah, I mean, kick it to the next year, move up around, and people are going to tell you, and I'm not here to say that it's not, but people are going to tell you, well, next year's class is weak, so right now a lot of those picks are devalued. People don't really want them. I will tell you, people will want them a lot more this time next year. It's just the way that this goes. They may not want them today, but that asset is only going to improve in value, increase in value over time. And even though next year's class is not necessarily great from certain angles, there is still a lot of good players in next year's class too. Like the quarterback position, there's a lot to figure out about the quarterbacks next year. So I understand Ants saying like, hey, I like Penix enough. He's in a good quarterback class. Let me get the quarterback now because he doesn't want to gamble with those guys next year. Because you're looking at Drew Allard, Carson Beck, Shadur Sanders. Like there's a lot of question marks here. We don't even know who's going to be the QB1 in the class. Whereas this year we knew that Drake May and Caleb Williams, they had been 1 and 2 for many, many years at this point. So that's kind of the class, but the running backs are going to be strong. Wide receivers still have some good dudes at the top. Tight ends is just a tight end position. Who gives about the tight end position? But we're always going to find guys. But really, that's the way that I saw this one going. Timothy says, good trade. Always nervous with QBs after Andrew Luck, Deshaun Watson. Just never know. But yeah, I agree, man. But like I said, I was deep, but I just wasn't going to take Penix there. So let's move on to the next one. We're going into the Discord trades at this point. Now, Beast Moves was technically a Discord trade, but you were in it, so we had to talk about it. But this is the first one, and this is submitted here by Joel. So he gets the 105, and he gives up Freiermuth in the 108. Now, the context to this is it is a 12-team league, Superflex, PPR, 2-point tight end premium here. So extra tight end premium for the most part. And it's a start 10. He said he wanted some studs. The 105 turned into Brock Bowers. So he basically moved Freiermuth in the 108 to go into Brock Bowers. How do we feel about this with it being a double tight end premium almost with 2 points?
I like it for the A side. I pretty much think there's a cutoff between with this past draft after 1-7 and Freiermuth he's Freiermuth.
Yeah.
So I mean, you basically trading Freiermuth to move up and get an upgrade. So I mean, I like it. I mean, I wouldn't have done it if I was the B side because I just feel like the talent was in the top 7.
Yeah, I hear you. And let's not understate how valuable Brock Bowers can be in that double tight end premium. If he turns into that guy, then he's going to be super, super valuable. He's going to be as good as some of the top wide receivers. But I think from that angle, probably worth it. And I'm getting a little bit of feedback, I think, on your end. But I'm just going to mute you for a second. But I think from that angle, that is probably a trade that I'm willing to make. I think he also mentioned that he was good at all of his other positions as well. So doesn't really need to add too much. But I do think this is probably the appropriate price, but I'm still taking Brock Bowers here. It feels expensive because normally in those non-tight end or just those 0.5 tight end premium or whatever those other tight end leagues are, you're going to get that Brock Bowers at 108, 109, 107 maybe if somebody really wants him. But he wasn't going really that early because a lot of people were not really feeling the landing spot. How are you feeling about the landing spot with Brock Bowers? And I'm not getting any more feedback on my end, so you're good.
Okay. You know what? I had to do some research myself on Brock Bowers. And because as you know, I don't really dive into the draft until it's time to dive into the draft. And I honestly think that it's a little overstated about how negatively him going to the Raiders is going to impact them because he plays a completely different type of role than what Michael Mayer is going to play. Like Michael Mayer is going to be that more traditional tight end. Brock Bowers is almost going to kind of not only be the 1A or 1B of the tight end room, he's also kind of going to occupy that, and correct me if I'm wrong, occupy that Hunter Renfrow area that he used to have, like get a lot of looks in the slot. So
yeah,
I honestly think he's gonna impress. And don't take my word to take it with a grain, but I think he's gonna have like a Sam LaPorta as type of, in the sense that it's not going to take him a couple years to develop in that tight end role like it do most guys. I think he'll be able to kind of hit the ground running over there.
Yeah, I mean, he should be. That's what people are drafting him to do. So I think that should be the expectation for him, whether it's fair or not. That should be what the expectation is, especially when you're spending this type of draft capital on him. But you're right; he's going to fill in that slot sometimes. He's going to play outside. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they get creative enough with him where he's kind of taking plays out of the backfield and things like that. Like we've seen him get really creative at Georgia using him because he is a very unique, a very kind of Swiss Army knife type of skill set type of guy. He's going to be very good. I'm not worried about Brock Bowers whatsoever. So I fully agree with this deal. I think this is a great deal. If you're wanting to get studs, Brock Bowers, he has a chance to be a stud. And it's that double tight end premium, so why not? I think that's a great deal for Joel here.
Yeah.
All right, trade number 4. We got Sugar and Steven Nugent in here. So it's a 12-team Superflex tight end premium PPR start 10. Sugar is going to receive Chris Olave in the 108. He gives up Sam LaPorta in the 203. So really, it looks like LaPorta for Olave and a move back. That is what we're looking at. So how are we feeling first impressions here?
First impressions, I'm kind of digging the Sugar side of it. I'm kind of digging the Sugar side. Because you're getting that second tier of stud. You basically are getting the top of the second tier. If we were to separate it by the top 7 guys and the rest, you're getting the next best guy, which is usually freaking depending on what your team needs, because some of them moved in and got the running back from Carolina, but I like the sugar side of it. LaPorta is an absolute stud. So I mean, I'm really on the fence to a degree, but Olave is no slouch. I mean, he could do a thing, and you're getting 1.8. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning sugar.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do too, and you also got to take into account with, I know you said that there's 7. To me, after the NFL draft, it got to 8, and I think the 8 players were the 4 quarterbacks. We had May, Daniels, McCarthy, Caleb, and then we had Brock Bowers, Rome Odunze, Malik Nabers, and Marvin Harrison. So to me,
So
it
that's
was the
9.
8. That's 8, no?
No, you said the 4
4
quarterbacks.
QBs and 4 QBs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end.
Okay, yeah, I was looking at your fingers incorrectly.
Yeah, I skipped.
I'm sick,
I don't know
damn it.
why I
I'm
skipped.
sick. I'm sick.
I don't know why I skipped the thumb. I don't know why I did that, bro. But it's what I did. But yeah, we had 8, and so to me that moved up. So you're getting one of those last guys here at the 108. The 203, I think you take it for maybe 109 is Brian Thomas. Then you get Lad McConkey, Xavier Worthy. We're kind of getting into deeper territory at the 203, and not that that's a bad player. We had lots of good players still being available there, but definitely a tier fall off from that 108 to that 203. So to me, LaPorta, great asset. Normal tight end premium, though, being a 1.5. Like I said, great asset, but he's not like a huge needle mover in the tight end premium. Gives him a little bit of a bump, but I prefer the Olave and the 108 side here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man.
All right. Let's move on to trade number 5. We have Goat Rings back at it. I feel like every episode we got some Goat Rings trades, but it's because he's submitting like 50 trades in the Discord every week, man. This guy is active as all hell. But this is actually the thumbnail trade. So Tank Dell and the 208 for Drake London. It is a 10-team Superflex 1.75 PPR. That should be for the tight end premium. 1.75 tight end premium, PPR start 11. He said he wanted to get liquid, and he's deep at wide receiver. So he said he didn't necessarily need London. He was deep at wide receiver and get liquid. I'm not feeling the tear down. I feel like London should be getting you more. Am I wrong for feeling this way?
No, because when I looked at this trade, I said he wants to get liquid. Is the liquid Hennessy or what kind of alcoholic beverage is the liquid? Because there's no way I'm trading Drake London, who is absolutely skyrocketing all across the board with the upgraded quarterback, for Tank Dell, who had added competition in the wide receiver room and a late 24 second round pick. Even if, okay, just because this, if you have a pocket full of money, just because you have a lot of money don't mean you squander it on nonsense. Like if you have depth in the wide receiver room, you don't just trade London because you got depth. Like not to get a second round pick. I just don't think. Yeah, 7 goal usually wins every trade he puts in. This is not one of them.
This is one of the few. I mean, for me, look, it's just I understand you feel like you're deep at the wide receiver position. Yeah, you want to get liquid. Honestly, to me, also, this doesn't feel like you're getting liquid, because getting liquid to me feels like you get an asset that isn't going to take up a roster spot. You getting Tank Dell, he's just taking up the same roster spot that Drake London had. So you're just getting a 208. Now, I know it's a 10-team league, 18th guy off the board. It's not like a huge difference maker. And maybe this comes down to the fact that I'm a little bit lower on Tank Dell than where I think a lot of the community is, because Tank Dell is very polarizing. People either think that Tank Dell is the next greatest wide receiver in the NFL. They think he's freaking Jerry Rice 2.0, or people think that he's Will Fuller. And you think he's more towards the Will Fuller side.
Yeah,
I think he's probably somewhere in between. I would say that Tank Dell is a glorified Jordan Addison at this point. He should be valued the same way that we talk about Jordan Addison. That's the way that I feel about Tank Dell. But Drake London, this is a guy who we could be talking about in the Garrett Wilson range of players, the Puka Nacua range of players by the end of this year. So I don't like the tear down to this. I don't feel like you needed to do this, even if you're deep and in a 10-team league as well. Start 11. You're going to want those studs even more. This just feels like you have to have some major belief in Tank Dell, and I just don't have it. I just don't have that high range of outcomes for Tank Dell, especially with added competition in a guy like Stephon Diggs.
If Drake London was the expendable wide receiver on his team, I want to know who his other wide receivers are.
He put it in our chat. There's like Amon-Ra St. Brown, some other guys like that, but it looked like London was like wide receiver 4 or 5 on the roster. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, if you're that deep and that good at the wide receiver position, I don't even know why you have to make this trade. Like, just keep Drake London for a rainy day, or sell him at a higher price tag than this one.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree.
Because let's think about this. If you were going to draft Drake London in this year's rookie class, is he the 103 after Caleb and Marvin? I think he is.
Based on landing spot, yeah.
You take him over Nabers, right?
Yeah, based on landing spot, yeah. But if we're talking about prior to us knowing the landing spot, no.
Okay, but obviously with the landing spot is what it is. I mean,
yeah.
Now that we know, he's probably the 103 in this class.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's just the way that I feel. And maybe this was made before the draft, but even then, it's not like you were getting a pick that was going to be like a Malik Nabers or something anyway. So, go Rings, always in here finessing. I'm not going to say he got finessed, but this feels like I lean the London side.
Yes.
Ooh, spicy from Matthew. He says London would be wide receiver 4 in this class. He says maybe 3 actually over Nabers. So I feel like that's kind of spicy. Maybe not. Maybe I'm higher on London right now. Maybe I am. But I just feel like knowing what we know with Odunze in Chicago and Nabers in New York, if we had London in Atlanta today and he was on the board and we could have drafted him in our rookie drafts, I would have taken him over both of those wide receivers. So that does take us through half of our trade show already. It feels like we're flying through this. But before we move on to the back half of the show, let's get a quick word from our sponsors. They're right underneath you, War, Underdog Fantasy. Let's hear from them. Our friends at Underdog Fantasy are the #1 place for daily fantasy sports. You can now play their Fantasy Pick'em game, which lets you pick higher or lower on your favorite players from any sport. All you have to do is make your picks and watch the money multiplier increase for maximum winnings. The app is super user-friendly, making it very easy to use. And when you sign up using code LEAGUEFFB, you will be directly supporting our show. Not only that, but Underdog will give you a new customer special, which is a free square for your first pick'em entry, and they will match your first deposit up to $100, giving you double the cash to play with. So if you want to support our show and get in on some daily fantasy sports action, click the link in our description and sign up for Underdog Fantasy using code LEAGUEFFB. So thank you again for our sponsors over at Underdog Fantasy. And with that out of the way, let's get back into the action. All right, so you guys hear it. If you want to support the show, if you want to play some DFS, go sign up using the link in the description, Underdog Fantasy, use code LEAGUEFFB. It does support us directly, and it doesn't mean you guys are just giving money without getting anything back in return. They're going to match your money back, giving you free money, basically everything to play with. There's no risk. So if you haven't signed up for Underdog Fantasy, I know it's very popular. Lots of people have played it. Go sign up for Underdog Fantasy. It will support this show. So, War, trade number 6 here. 12-team Superflex PPR tight end premium start 11. This is the deal from Atlanta Sports Fan. He receives Mike Evans, Ezekiel Elliott, and Jalen Hurts. He gives up the 104, a 25 first, and the 201. Now, he said that 104 turned into Jayden Daniels. So, Jayden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Ezekiel Elliott, Mike Evans, one of the 25 first. How are we feeling here?
There's a lot to process with this one. I think it's fine. Elliott's like a non-factor. in this deal to me.
I think he's sneaky right now. I think he's sneaky. I have a video
Who
coming
do
out
you think,
tomorrow, and we talk Ezekiel Elliott.
who do you think's more sneaky, him or Devin Singletary?
I think Zeke's more sneaky than Singletary right now. He's probably cheaper too, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But I have him in a video tomorrow, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. It's veteran winners of the NFL draft, so we'll talk about that. But to me, it feels like if Jayden Daniels hits, if he smashes and it's everything that we want him to be, he becomes Jalen Hurts. Like that feels like what the ceiling is.
Yeah, the more I look at it, just that 2 firsts and an early second, that does seem kind of, even if I looked at it like, okay, maybe, that seems kind of high, man. It seems kind of expensive.
Really, I would make this trade all day long because the way that I view it is Jalen Hurts is much, much more valuable than Jayden Daniels right now. Probably 2 rounds of value in startup draft value. So, if you got to throw the extra 25 first in to go get a guy like Jalen Hurts, it's Jayden Daniels in the 25 first to go get Jalen Hurts, then so be it. And then that means you get Mike Evans and Zeke for the 201. I feel like that. I mean, come on, for a 12 team, like, I don't know. That's just the way that I feel with that one. I even think if you just did Mike Evans for the 25 first, that's probably what he's worth right now, depending on where it's at. I mean, if you're projecting it to be early, maybe not. But I'd just take the Jalen Hurts side. I think we know what we're getting out of that. And that's an ultimate like contending move. I'm not sure whether or not he didn't say if he's a contender, but maybe he did and maybe I missed it. But if this feels like I'm contending and this is going to put my team over the hump.
Yeah. I would love to know the context of both teams because it'll give me like a better idea. But you're right. Jalen Hurts is the far most valuable asset in this trade. And if you're getting Mike Evans, forget Ezekiel, even though I know you said he's sneaky. If you're even getting Mike Evans for like 201, that's even pretty good move. I know a lot of people are ageist and they're like, thinking about Evans' age, but
Brian said this was a startup draft. He said this is Atlanta sports fan here. So is that 104? Is that a startup pick, not a rookie pick? Oh, did the startup a couple of weeks ago. Okay. Now I'm getting where we're at. So this is a fresh, brand new league. They had a rookie draft. Jayden Daniels was the 104. So okay, still remains the same, but clearly you don't have anybody who's like major contenders or rebuilders at this point, really, unless they punt at the startup. So everybody's trying to figure it out. Matthew says Evans is old AF. He's still old, but he still put up some numbers last year, man. So he keeps doing 1,000 yards every year until he stops. I'm willing to keep buying into the hype, especially at a second round pick type of price. But yeah, so I get it. I get it what he's saying now with the startup. So I still lean that Jalen Hurts side. Keep giving me the blue chip players. You agree?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm still on the fence, but yeah, I agree.
Fair enough. He did get a new contract too, Brian. So I think it's 2 years for Mike Evans. Now, next trade here, we got Crumb and T. Conner. So this is a big one, but very kind of wonky. So let's let it sit for a second.
I've already made my decision.
Well, hold on. It's an 8-team league. Okay. The very rare, very elusive 8-team league. There's not many 8-team leagues around here. Superflex, PPR, no tight end premium. Start 10. He said the 107 turned into Brian Thomas Jr. The 201 was Keon Coleman. So we are getting Patrick Mahomes, CeeDee Lamb, Keon Coleman, and Joe Mixon for Kirk Cousins, Jonathan Taylor, Trevor Lawrence, Drake London, a 26 first, and Brian Thomas Jr. You said you already made your decision. Where are you leaning?
As soon as I say Mahomes and Lamb, I was just like, it would take an insurmountable haul for me to even think this trade is even. Like Lamb and Mahomes in the same,
Yeah, Matt says 8-team leagues need to have 2 super flex spots. Probably 8-team leagues for the most part probably shouldn't exist, but I get it. If you have one from a long time ago, then you keep playing it. Whatever. Anyways, we're not going to bash 8-team leagues here. I agree with you though. I think Patrick Mahomes and CeeDee Lamb, especially in a format like this, it is 8 teams, start 10. So you have 80 starting type of players across the board every week compared to your 12 team leagues that are start 11 or whatever. We're talking like way more than that. So having a guy on your team that is going to be a superstar, a stud, a difference maker, the blue chip type of guy, that is what gives you the edge, because you got to think all of these teams are freaking good. Like all of them have good players, but the more blue chips that you get, the better. Now, I will say, Jonathan Taylor, he is a blue chip player. So you do give up one blue chip, but you get 2 of them back. I am all in on that Jewish crumb side. Pat Mahomes, CeeDee Lamb, give me that every time. That's what I just, you get more bang for your buck, I think, even though it feels like you're giving up a lot on the other end.
Yeah, it's just not many trades you see with those 2 guys going to another team. I mean, you're
It's going
usually
to be
losing if
interesting to
you're
see.
trading away those 2 guys.
Yeah, I wonder who he added them with as well. Like, if you're adding Lamb and Mahomes, who else is on your roster?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless maybe that's the starting lineup that he just traded. Jonathan Taylor, Drake London, Trevor Lawrence. Maybe that was a starting lineup, but I still prefer the other side. So, anyways, a little bit unique. We don't usually review 8 teams, but Crumb's been throwing it in the Discord for a couple weeks now, and we'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. We talked about it. We got the next one here. This one was submitted by Gucci Gotham. He has Trevor Lawrence on his team. It's a 12-team super flex PPR, 2-point tight end premium, 6-point passing touchdown. Start 12, so a lot deeper of a league here. He gives up George Pickens. He gets Brian Thomas Jr. to stack with Trevor Lawrence. This feels pretty dead even to me for the most part. How do you feel about Thomas versus Pickens?
It's even, but for the sake of the show, I'll leave Brian Thomas because simply he has the better quarterback.
The better quarterback, and I like the fact, even though it's not like something that I like really go out of my way to make happen, anytime you can get a stack, it gives me just a little bit of extra incentive to go get it. The fact that he has Trevor Lawrence and stacks him with Brian Thomas, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to number 9. Matt. He has a bunch of scribbles on the screen. Can I just say, I appreciate Matt because Matt's very active in the Discord. I hate the scribble shit. Like, don't be out here crossing out the names. Don't cross. I get it. I understand from an aspect of like you don't want to put people's business up on the internet that didn't consent to it. It's a sleeper username, but like let us see the thing, man. I feel like it just looks so ugly. Maybe this is just for me. I hate the scribbles, but anyways, it's a 10-team super flex PPR tight end premium start 10, and he wanted to let us know that he likes Odunze more than Malik Nabers. He prefers that. So the 106 and a 25 first for Douglas and the 104, and I'm assuming the 104 was Nabers and the 106 is Odunze. So he just got the guy that he preferred, and they threw in a 25 first for Demario Douglas. You text me about this, and you what did you say? Did you say what did you say about this? Tell me.
I can't remember what the hell I said, but
I think something along the lines of this is bad or drunk or something. Hated this or I can't remember what you said.
I mean, I don't think this. I don't know how I was feeling at the time. I don't think the trade is that bad.
I think you're talking from the other angle, though.
But it's pretty bad though. 2 first. Okay, Demario Douglas. As much as I like him, that's nothing. So you're getting a 25 first, and you're moving down 2 spots. I think the A side wins here.
Matt says, "I'm sorry for the messy screenshot. LOL. I won't cross anything out next time." You're good, bro. I'm sitting here being an ass. But
yeah, I take Matt's side in this trade. I think it's a no-brainer to me.
No, I mean, I agree. When you can get, I mean, the fact that he says he prefers Odunze over Nabers, he still gets the guy that he prefers, and you get the bonus first. I mean, that's one, knowing your league mates, knowing the tiers, knowing the values of where the players and the assets are being valued in the market. I mean, this is how you do it. I mean, this is how you make change on a dynasty roster. And when you have strong conviction like that in a player like Odunze, where you say he is the guy that I prefer as a wide receiver too, make people come up and pay. So great move here for Matt. I think this is exactly the way that you do it. Anthony says, I like the scribbles. They add character and immediately shows who's not a surgeon. So,
Yeah.
all right, man. Well, we got one more trade here. We'll talk about it. It's been a little bit of a shorter show, but hey, I feel like we've still talked about these trades at length for a little bit. So maybe it's better. You are sick today. You've been sick of the Kendrick and the Drake beef. So
Yeah.
we'll get you out of here. You've had enough of my nonsense already this week. We got this trade here from Anthony Mack. He has a 12-team league. It is super flex, PPR, tight end premium, and a start 11. He wanted us to know that this was giving him 2 top 5 picks in this year's class. So he gave up Bijan Robinson and Nico Collins. He received Rashee Rice, the 105, Najee Harris, and the 211. So where are we at with this one?
Hmm. I mean, it feels weird, but I'm gonna go with Anthony Mack's side. Even though I like Bijan, and Bijan is a blue chip asset, I just feel like the 1-5 is the difference maker in this. I mean, you have to take consideration what do you think is going to happen to Rashee Rice. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I mean, again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to tell
doesn't
you
seem like too much is going to happen.
He's not going to lose his career. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he loses half a season, like who said that? Schefter said something about maybe half a season. Whatever. I feel like for me, it's my mind goes to where would we value Bijan Robinson in this class?
Yeah.
Is he the 103 in this year's class, or is he the 104? Like, where are we kind of valuing him?
He's the 103.
The 103? I agree. And Anthony, he's in here actually. So he says his thoughts. Thoughts were to split Bijan into Rashee and Najee. Then he flipped Nico to 105. JJ McCarthy was his pick of the 105. And then 211 is Sanat or Javon Baker prospect. I don't hate it. Also, the fact that you go up and get a quarterback in a class like this in a super flex, if you needed quarterback. Also, I know that Anthony is a big believer in JJ McCarthy. I'll give Anthony his credit. There was a time 5-6 months ago when he was DMing me on Discord telling me that he felt like JJ McCarthy was the number 1 quarterback in this class over Caleb Williams, over guys like that. So he has been very in.
What you sipping on?
He's been very in on JJ McCarthy. So he went out, gets his guy. I don't hate it. I think it's probably a fair deal. I just hate to move on from Bijan because I want to see what Bijan does, but also I get the fact that it's a running back and you should always be willing to move off of the running back.
Yeah, you know how we feel about running backs. I do feel like Bijan is in that small handful of running backs that you do have to value. So yeah, I mean, there's like that's what gave me hesitation to say that Anthony won, but you know.
Yeah, Matt says he's in on JJ too. Says I know his thoughts about him. Look, man, I think a lot of people are. It's one of two. He is talk about polarizing players. JJ McCarthy is one of these polarizing players. So, is what it is. Bindles in here. Appreciate you, Bindles. Says hammer that like, fellas. So go hit that like button. Also, Bindles, I thought you were on a live stream. I saw you earlier on a live stream. Maybe it just finished, but I appreciate you coming in and checking it out. If you guys play best ball, our sponsors over at Underdog Fantasy, they have best ball drafts. Bindles does a ton of them on his channel, so you guys can go watch him there. We're gonna do a bunch of them on this channel too as we get into best ball summer. but it's getting more as we get close to redraft season probably. But Bindle, we might have to have you on the channel to do a best ball draft. With that being said, though, I do see the vision here. I like the ability to go out and get a guy like JJ McCarthy. Matt says JJ McCarthy Rookie of the Year. Najee Harris. War is upset about this. He's had enough of this crap. But that is going to be the last trade of this trade show for us. I tried to evade it. I will say that I'll lean the Anthony Mack side. It's not by much though.
Yeah. It's a toss up.
All right, man. Well, that is what we have for you as far as trades today. We probably could have done a little bit more, but maybe if we get a couple more trades thrown into the trade show between now and like a week or two from now, we'll do a bonus trade show this month as well. So if you guys are making trades in your dynasty leagues, either this week, next week, or you made some last week that didn't get submitted into the Discord for some reason, go ahead and throw them in the Discord. We want as many of them as possible. The more that we get, the more trade shows you get. So it's kind of an incentive for you guys. If you submit a bunch of trades, we'll make a bunch of trade content. So that's just the way that this goes. I know War says this is one of his favorite types of videos that we do is the trade reviews. So
yeah,
we enjoy it. That's just the way it is. But if you guys did enjoy today's video, go ahead and hit that like button. It is the best free way to show this channel some support. Also, remember, you can support this show by clicking the Underdog Fantasy link in the description down below. Doesn't cost you anything other than what you choose to play with, but they will match your deposit up to 100%. So they're basically giving you the money back that you deposit. So really no cost to that at all, but it does support us. And then last but not least, make sure you guys are subscribed, members of the Discord, obviously, so you can submit future trades. And go subscribe to War. War, tell them about what you're doing.
Over on the Crimson Mask show, which is soon going to be Crimson Mask Wrestling. At some point, it's going to get just changed to that. We are only 71 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. For all of you who've already subscribed, thank you so much. For all of you who haven't subscribed, even if you don't watch wrestling, subscribe, because at least then you'll get a little bit of comedy, or everybody did a stunner or two in their day. So, just go fill in for some nostalgia. We appreciate the support. Like, subscribe, follow all this content over on the Crimson Mask show.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, go subscribe to it. It's already in the description. So if you go down, you'll see all the social links. It'll be mine, it'll be Wars, and then there will be stuff for the Crimson Mask down there as well. So make sure you guys go check that out. And really, that's all I have for you. So we will see you guys on the next episode. We'll have to figure out what we want to do, but I have an idea. I'll text you off stream. But we'll get a good episode for you guys next week, no matter what. So with that being said, guys, we'll see you on the next episode. Until then, peace out.